San Diego's longtime Southern Caregiver Resource Center recently launched Operation Family Caregiver, a program to help caregivers of injured military family members who served in recent conflicts in the Middle East. Here with details are Lori Van Tilburg with the SCRC and Jessica Bly, who spent 2 years as a caregiver to her injured husband. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lori, what specific types of help does Operation Family Caregiver provide?
Operation Family Caregiver is twofold. First, it's an education outreach program to educate the community about the needs of family caregivers caring for folks with traumatic brain injury and PTSD coming back from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so we do a lot of education and training in the community about the needs of family caregivers, about traumatic brain injury, and about PTSD so people can understand what that entails. Second part of it is the evidence-based intervention that's funded under the Rosalind Carter Institute to really work with families specifically on their problems. It's a problem-solving method that we are really there to help coach families on their specific problems to help them develop solutions that will fit the needs of their family.
In the evidence-based part of that's sort of is that sort of it's something that you document? What does the evidence-based mean?
See, that's a very specific program that was tested in a controlled environment. So it's gone through rigorous scientific evaluation that they've really looked at the outcomes to determine that they're effective. And so it's done in a controlled environment. And then really for us, it's put into practice. So we take that research-based intervention and then we actually implement that in the community within our organization.
I see. Now, Jessica, your husband Tim was severely injured when a 240-pound IED, I understand, exploded under his vehicle in his deployment in Afghanistan in 2011. What were his injuries?
He had 2 fractured femurs, a broken foot, 3 vertebrae
right?
fractures, a TBI, and PTSD.
So he came back a different man, both physically and mentally, it would seem. And your role expanded from a wife to a caregiver. How did this impact you and your family?
It completely changed the dynamics of our family. It changed how we lived our life. We lived in Fisher houses for a few months before we came to San Diego and received a home, so it was a big change.
And it impacted your dynamics with your friends and going out, and tell me about that.
Yeah, there was no more going out. It was I'd put my kids in childcare and I'd go see my husband in the hospital, and we'd work on some of his recovery or some of his therapies that he was supposed to be doing. And I lived in a Fisher house for a little while, and until we got to San Diego, we didn't really have a house.
Did you feel supported? Did you know about the support, or did you kind of feel alone? What was going on there?
For the first year, I probably felt pretty alone. It was a new experience that I had a hard time relating to people. I probably became a little introverted for a good while. I had a hard time coming out and talking to people, or I just wanted to be alone a lot.
Well, we're going to talk about how that's changed, but Lori, I did want to get to this. How do the needs of a military caregiver like Jessica, somebody who's caring for somebody who was in the military, differ from, let's say, other caregivers, somebody caring for a parent with Alzheimer's?
I think that the needs of the military caregiver are, exaggerated a lot by the stress that they're feeling because of the fact that they're in that military culture where reaching out for help and support is often frowned upon. It's like they want to get back to their team members back in the war. They don't want to admit that they have post-traumatic stress disorder or a traumatic brain injury. And so there's a lot of isolation. I think that Jessica has indicated that, reaching out is something that's very, very hard to do. And I think for them, they're a lot younger. They may be newly married. They have young children. They may not have a work history, so there are financial issues, there's housing issues, there's childcare issues. There are many, many issues that, families that have had more life experience don't have, if you're dealing with somebody that has, let's say, Alzheimer's disease.
Something that needs to be specifically addressed, it sounds like. Now, Jessica, how are you and Tim doing right now? I understand there's been quite a bit of progress.
We're doing really good. He finished up 2 years of recovery, and he got to stay in the military, and he's furthering his corpsman training and finishing up independent duty corpsman school. So he's doing phenomenal.
He's back at school. He's
back
in
school,
the military.
In the military, he's getting to do everything that he loved doing.
Alrighty. Well, Jessica, thank you for sharing your story. And Lori, thank you so much for telling us about this new program.
Thank you.